Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to yet another catalog review show. This is the March one. There's bands that have a signature that they carry and a certain sound they gravitate to. This catalog review show, however, is more about the evolution of said signature to make and utilize a variety of sounds, borrowing from blues rock, arena rock, gothic rock, and even tribal rhythms to accentuate their position. The lyricist points of emphasis, as well as to move from I don't know, psychedelic into a heavy metal, from gothic and alternative to even stoner rock and just general rock, and then back again. With influences that range from The Doors to Led Zeppelin to The Who to the three-chord riff of AC/DC to the presence of Queen or even Bauhaus, and Joy Division and Susie and the Banshees. Now that's a blender. They've been influenced by great producers that pushed the boundaries and comfortabilities from Rick Rubin to Bob Rock, who became a very big staple, nailed them down sort of in that hard rock arena sound. They really brought it. And then the last record was Tom Dalgardi, who returned them to that gothic kind of sorts, but still bent to the rock and delivery of their lead singer and their tempoed, notorious rock blues rhythm. What started with a Southern death cult became the Death Cult, and then eventually became the Cult Catalog Review Show, with current band members, obviously Ian Astbury, Bill Duffy on guitars, John Tempesta, he's done drums, percussion.
You gotta say Billy. It can't be Bill. It's Billy.
Billy, Billy Duffy, Billy Duffy, and then Charlie Jones, who's done bass, backing vocals. The underestimation here, Ian Astbury, to most, is not the great of a frontman. In fact, there's this hearing process that he might have been the reason they never became a household name. But they were still that household name. This is that one that generationally doesn't get picked up on because, well, let's just say it's because of the 80s haters, the 90s grungers, and the ability of Ian Astbury to actually be both a baritone and a tenor. In fact, his voice still holds today, as well as those notes. There's still the other underestimation here, and that's Billy Duffy, who also gets no notoriety in his riff, the carrying of the guitar in any shape or form for some reason. And he's a master level skilled musician at it. What kills this band sometimes for me is their dive that goes too deep into rhythm and riff, and somehow it becomes, where did the melody go? There's not that often you hum along to a Cult song, but you've hummed along with all of their influences that I just mentioned above. Hell, even AC/DC. Tonight, we generously explore an excellent catalog, in my opinion, one that does not have as much of a dated sound as many that we've done in these years past, especially someone who's been around as long as these guys. We rank the albums, discuss their moments, as well as the experience listening to them, and where the band finally registers in our wheelhouse on the music multiverse. On the panel tonight, she's a real girl that loves the Cult, Susie Q. See what I did there? He would have had a peace dog by now, but his condo doesn't accept them. Jeff Young.
It's not the HOA. No.
It's not the head of household. All right, well, let's just get right into it. Let's start with Susie Q. And then going to go 10.
11.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 11, 10, 9, 8. And then
11.
7, 6, 5, 4. 11. And then 3, 2, 1.
So wait, are you doing all of them at once?
No, 11, 10, 9, 8. And then 7, 6, 5, 4. And then 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
All right. Jeff, do you have a mug tonight? I got on late. Just curious.
I didn't grab one, no.
Okay.
We got to get him a Cult mug.
I have my old granny mug.
I don't even have a cult shirt, which is ridiculous.
I'm surprised.
I don't either.
Um, all right. So I don't know that I am the like um have the credentials to do a full catalog review on the cult because
Not
they're
required.
definitely like I have my favorites and of course favorite songs, some of which you can sing along to with a melody that carries through. But um
True.
yeah, some of them I don't, some of them I'm so on. I don't hate any of them. Like I don't feel like any of them went too far off the rails. So I just am more familiar with certain albums than others, let's put it that way. So my number 11, I went with Hidden City. It was released in 2016. For me, just to put it quickly and simply, I felt like there were shades of earlier album sounds. It was so creative though, and I kind of liked. I felt like there's some heavier albums, but it was nice. It was a decent album. My number 10, I went with Choice of Weapon, released in 2012. Decent. Caught a little like bluesy, groovy stuff going on in this one. Nothing was like, oh, that's the best ever, but decent album end to end. My number 9, I went with Born Into This. 2007 was definitely not listening to a lot of music that year, but again, I think like Mark, you were saying that I don't know how you put it, but we've listened to some albums that have kind of gone stale or they're dated maybe, but and none of these hit me that way. It felt solid to me. Again, some shades of, I think they always kind of go back a little bit to, you can't not hear their original sound. Um, so that was my number 9. Number 8, I went with The Cult, 1994, grunge area. For me, I liked grunge, but I was listening to a lot of other bands at that time, more so than The Cult, but still dark. It was heavy. It was a nice change of pace during this exercise. So that's why it landed with number 8.
Mr. Young.
Yeah, I had two of those as well. I also picked 11 Hidden City, 10 Born Into This. Those two actually join Choice of Weapon, which isn't in my bottom four. Those are part of a trilogy, and I wouldn't even have known it unless
Mhm.
I read that because you can't tell by listening to them. At least I can't.
Mm.
No.
But really, the bottom half of this list are albums I don't really gravitate to. But so I picked again, Hidden City is 11, Born Into This 10, Under the Midnight Sun 9, and then like again these are I think albums that are probably enjoyed by cult traditional fans, but I would
Mhm.
never hand this out to somebody who I would want to enjoy the cult and get into the cult. Um, but I also picked 8, which for a lot of people this is probably like blasphemy if you're a real true cult fan. But I picked 8 is Dreamtime, their first debut album. You know, Spirit Walker's big. I don't know. It just seems to me it just sounds old. I mean, it's good. Like as a cult fan, I would go to it and I would entertain conversations with really super huge cult fans. But as much as I want to like it, I don't like it as much as I want to like it, and
Mm.
it's fine. But
Mm.
and I appreciate where that came from. Like they were still evolving even when they came out with that album. But it doesn't rate for me. That's all. I mean, I appreciate it. I understand the significance of it, but for me, it's just towards the bottom.
I'm going to have a conversation about that too, because um, if there were not remasters, my list would be different because in the album that you just mentioned are some of their best material and blues connection and timing and but it was not well produced. The recording of it
Like I said, it
was
sounded old.
yes, it was the most dated of the records. I know it's the most dated in time, but it was the most dated in sound. However, I will let you know that it was redone and it sounded much to the where I thought the musicality was for the moment. And we're talking what, 84?
I
I
think so.
think.
Yeah, 84.
Mhm.
I wasn't even into
Damn.
the cult back
Yeah,
then.
this is not where music was in 84.
No,
Mhm.
It's
something
where
like
the recording was, not where the music was, and that's kind of gonna be my some of my theme here. But I'll tell you this: the cult for me, the signature is Ian and Duffy,
absolutely.
but Duffy and Ian have evolved over time.
Mhm.
The vocal of Asbury can be any of which way he so chooses. I do believe that he has a very strong connection to Jim Morrison in how I'm not saying he sounds like Jim Morrison. There are times where he does. He holds the notes longer. He wants it to be like a poem in certain
Yeah,
instances. And
absolutely.
that works really well for me. And it works
Mhm.
well for me because that's a Gordownianism. That, those
Yeah.
are other artists of that nature.
I just
But
love
man,
the cult because their guitar and their vocals are distinct. Like
Yes. The
Billy
guitar.
Duffy,
Yep.
just like a million other guitarists. When you hear it, it's Billy Duffy. When you hear Ian Astbury, it's like listening to Daily Roth. You know who it is.
Mhm.
yeah. Yep. So that's where I stand in the idea of all this. Did I come in at the very beginning of the cult? Absolutely not. 80s, remember, okay? This is one of those where you're gonna go, oh, Mark hated the 80s. So we're here come the 80s albums first because of their recording. No, not this time around. Um, my number 11 is Under the Midnight Sun. All of these albums from the cult are very good. There is no shitstorm of crap. There's no cover albums. There's no junk. Okay. And that's why they didn't do albums every year and all this
But I also
stuff.
broke up twice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that too. But if you look, the distance in a breakup band is not as great as some who are 26 years later. Right. So it, Under the Midnight Sun is a more gothic entry return to the cult in a way. The lyrics are interesting, resting spot. They kind of proving that they have plenty more to write about, and the delivery of the material remains in the perfect impermanence, as one of the songs is. The album is a bit too short, though. That's my biggest problem. It's only 30 some minutes, and I felt like yeah, it needed a little something, something. But considering where the albums were that led to that, it was a little bit completely different because these ones that you guys have mentioned are all bangers. They're all hard rock.
This was released in 2022. Is this considered like a COVID album?
I would imagine it was done that way and then it came out. I mean, what I don't remember the distance between, was it 6 years maybe between records, something of that nature. My number 10 is Born Into This. I felt this was how I would have loved to hear them be recorded. I felt like it was a U2 version of the band, giving off a flair, and I love that the kickoff um, had that Morrison delivery, but in a today kind of uh, style, and it had a shimmering. It's not a tambourine. I know maybe it is because he does whack the tambourine around, if I recall correctly, live. But it could have been this. They were tambourine kind of cymbals. That the guitar riff is a killer throughout that first track. The pace, however, is a little samey in the rhythm of most of the album with the bass too. And there again is your melody going bye bye. My number 9 is Electric from 1987. I dropped this because of the horrible cover that they
Oh,
did.
Steppenwolf?
Yes. Yes.
That's an interesting way to rate it.
It's just
Mark and his covers.
it's shit. It's recorded like
In your
shit.
opinion?
And again, this is Rick Rubin. right? I'm pretty sure. I
Mm.
realize the rawness, but it doesn't sound good cranked up. And there's an AC/DC approach to all this. It may be a little bit that it should have been monstrous, and Electric Ocean fits it all. The first two tracks are killer, Wildflower, Peace Dog, but it does lack a sheen that might have put it higher on my list. This is the only record that I'm aware of that has not been remastered. There was a box set. Now, if you don't know the story of this record, Electric comes, they're doing the record, and Asbury and Duffy don't like it. They hate it, and they drop the producer, and in comes Rick Rubin. So I don't know if that had an effect on this too, but they were happier with it. But I that's where this is my number eight is Hidden City. There's
Yeah, they tried to polish it more for the American market, which actually
yeah
worked.
yeah the Hidden City. There's a lot of interesting tracks here. There's high fidelity production, rhythmic centric choices that lead me to the super alternative that they can always get to, and I love it when they get to that. This album has more meat and connection for me as Asbury and the band are carefully. I don't know. They're deliberately choosing to be understood. The lyric, the recording of this is not all on one level or
Which one are you
something.
talking about right now?
Hidden City.
Okay.
Okay. In actuality, Hidden City holds a similar recording style to another album I'm going to mention later. And I love that the album has great melody as it moves toward its conclusion, something that usually eludes them. And yes, there's piano in this album, something that only gets in a few times on a cult record. Back to Sue.
All right. I'm at seven, right?
7654.
Okay. Number seven. I went with um I went with Beyond Good and Evil.
Mm,
Um it just felt like the right place for it for me. And then Under the Midnight Sun made it all the way to six for me.
cool.
Um I guess partially too, I mean music wise I like it. Um But partially too, I always have like a soft spot. I love when bands have longevity and I don't know, there's just something cool about it that you can come back so so far down the line and still put out a quality album. Um, number, oh, I changed this one around, but number five wound up being Ceremony. That was out in 91.
Yeah.
Um, and right, and that was yeah, and that so I think I was reading somewhere that it was released the same day as Nirvana. Is that correct? Maybe Nirvana's Nevermind.
Oh no.
I don't know. I'll look that up while you're.
They're
Yeah,
probably both on a Friday.
yeah.
I
So
think back then, actually, the release dates were a Tuesday.
uh wait, so that was seven, six, five,
It's number
five,
four you're at.
and I'm going to number four. Number four, I went with Dreamtime. Um, I like a good debut album. I again, I don't know. Mm, would I sit and listen to it all the time? No, but I have to give it kudos. I think it really just set the stage for where they were going to be going, and they were new. It brought something new to the street that I don't think was there in 1984 from a lot of other bands. So, and I was going to mention too, like you had mentioned about Gord Downie, and there is just something I think that's in such an incredible natural gift for singers like that to be able to know how to hold a word even and
Hmm.
pause and he does that and the guitar playing is the same way. It's just they complement each other so well. So
Yep.
yeah.
No, yeah, and you are right. Nirvana released. Nevermind's oh my God, Nirvana's Nevermind released in '91.
Mhm.
So they were a victim of like most bands in some cases that are really really good that don't get yeah something comes along and stirs up everybody's attention and then you're kind of left in the lurch. You don't grow like you should have, maybe.
Right.
Mr. Young.
7, I picked Choice of Weapons, so never mind about that. We already talked about it. 6, I picked The Cult from '94, self-titled. You know, it is good. It's darker and moodier. Um, it's after Sonic Temple, but it kind of sounds like a record that would come before Sonic Temple. Um, and also just as a trivia, the track Star was a tune originally from their 1986 demo, originally called Tom Petty.
Oh,
Um,
I knew that.
my number 5 is Ceremony from '91.
Oh, look at
You
that. Same
know,
as Sue.
some nice tracks. Wild Hearted Sun, White, If is a piano one, Heart of Soul, Bangkok Rain. Just a solid album.
Mm-hmm.
But not in the top, not in the top uh, ones. Two, three, one, two. And then, so let's see here. Wait. And then so I'm doing number 4 now, right?
That is correct.
I
Number
got it
4.
at Electric 1987. Wildflower, Peace Doggle Devil, Love Removal Machine, of course, Mark's favorite, Born to Be Wild. But yeah, I picked that. When I look online, Electric is ranked even higher for a lot of lists, but
Yep.
I disagree. It's not quite all the way at the top 3, but it is definitely good. I mean, I listened to all the tracks,
Mm-hmm.
and to be honest, Love Removal Machine, I could take or leave it. I'd rather hear the original. Um, Maybe it's better live. I doubt it. But the overall album is very good. Obviously, Wildflower is legendary. Everyone knows that. Love Removal Machine. Those 2 songs alone carry the album. But
Yep.
the rest of the songs I like too. Like Aphrodisiac Jacket's really good. Peace Dog, I really like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Peace Dog. Great. All right, my number 7 is Choice of Weapon. This is where melody and heavy rock have come to the cult. For the Animals, just proves how this band held an arena position.
Who do you think it's for? The animals. Why you try to prove to the untamed? Who you gonna put? The uneducated. It's not for you. Who you trying to screw? For the animals. Where you gonna touch? To the untamed. What you trying to prove? You're not participating. It's not for you.
Sing along if you were in on it. No, he's not Freddie Mercury. He's there to feel angry and bring it. I just not only that, but this reaches back to that kind of 70s rock and leans into it heavier. A Pale Horse, even crooning at the end. This Night in the City Forever, that could have been sung by Sinatra. Don't believe me? Check it out.
These city lights of fame calling me again like diamonds in the rain. Where prophets tag their name, her rivers felt its shame. Few faces stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6 is Beyond Good and Evil. What the hell? This is like getting them all hard rocked and super alternative ramped up. It's like Soundgarden suddenly, and I remember when that first single came out, I'm like, holy crap, they've gone full on Soundgarden. It's the best return I've heard of a band that but still holds their signature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they weren't gone that long, but
6 years.
yeah, Asbury, its signature, his pitch, everything's punchier. It's ramped up to 9 and 10. Some people 27 years later, when this band, I don't think they could have done it like this. So I'm really impressed with that record. Number
A
5.
lot of magazines rated them as like it was like a one of the best comeback albums. Not that there was a lot of bands that were coming back at the time, but I mean, I know, like when I listened to it, I was like, it way overreached my
Exceeded
expectations.
expectations.
I was
Yeah.
like, great, they hate each other. They're coming back to do an album 6 years later. Please don't suck. And it was really
Yeah.
good. And like 13 tracks too.
Yeah. And was that the tour we saw them on?
Probably, yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
I think that is. My number 5. Guess what? Ceremony. All three of us had Ceremony at 5. This album is essentially that which makes you understand the band and how they make an album.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where to put it, to be honest.
This is
It's
the
bumped
most
around.
obtuse of the bunch. This
Mm.
is not. It's soul filled. The lyrical content, the context of the era and the times. Um, Almost, I think the album cover does tell you it has a reach toward Indian, Native American, and it's his voice feels it. It's like this is the cult walking the desert, like Morrison in a way, to some degree. Great record, and I know it's one of the most probably not that they a lot of people fault that this is one that if this wouldn't have happened, maybe it would have been easier to get to a little bit of more radio play, etc. But my that's it for me, right? No, number 4, Sonic Temple. Yeah,
Mm.
I understand this is the classic of the bunch. It doesn't get my number 1, but I appreciate where and what it is. I love that they play all these songs live for sure. I think that's you know, I loved it. There's such wonderful lead-ins too on all of them. This does suffer a bit in how it's recorded. That's my problem. Even the remaster, you find out um, that it works a little bit better. However, it does fall to the metal side, the motley of the crewing. That's where I'm not a huge '80s metal guy. Um, and the one thing that the last few songs, they just seem to lead away. That it's all about that beginning, those first 5 tracks, and so back to you, Sue.
So Electric landed as my number 3. Jeff, you kind of really summed it up pretty well. So I don't have anything really to add to that. Uh, I like the rock side of them a lot. Um, my number 2, I went with Love.
Love.
Sorry, something's tapping. Um, so yeah, I would say this one had, for me, it had kind of a little bit of everything. It had great lyrics, guitar awesomeness, and of course She Sells Sanctuary. Um, just a wonderful album. I have a feeling it'll rank differently for some other people, but I went with number 1, Sonic Temple. That one is right up my alley with the 80s, The Rock, Firewoman, Sweet Soul Sister, Sun King. So all of them, they all hit with
There's a
me.
song about Wayne Johnson on it. What?
Oh, who what?
Wayne Johnson,
Wayne John,
The
sure.
Rock.
Sure, yeah, The
Oh,
Rock.
okay. I didn't know.
So yeah, I mean that does it for me.
Mr. Young.
Number 3, I'm going with Love from '85, um, which was produced by Steve Brown, who was known for his work with Wham.
Really?
Yes, that's what the band said.
Wow.
Exactly, that's what they said. Um, but yeah, Nirvana, Big Neon Glitter, Rain is legendary. Shell's Sanctuary is probably the most recognized riff. But yeah, just a great collection of songs. Number 2, I went with Beyond Good and Evil. Number 2 and 1, I kind of went with just mostly for personal reasons. I mean, probably Love is a better album than these two, but I picked, Beyond Good and Evil just because, again, I was just so impressed that it doesn't suck. Not only didn't it suck after 6 years of thinking I would never going to see the Cult again or hear
Yeah.
new music, I got that, which I thought was really great.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
I like pretty much all the songs on that, like for having 13 tracks. I mean, And then number one, I did the Sonic Temple. First time with Bob Rock, to kind of deliver the arena sound. And like, I mean, I like every song, but yeah, I mean, that's Automatic Blue, Soldier Blue, Wake Up, Time for Freedom. They're good, but they're not nearly as good as the first 7 songs. Um, so yeah, but you know, the typical Edie Chow baby, ballad to Sun King and Firewoman, obviously. And Iggy Pop does backup vocals on New York City. But yeah, mostly because Sonic Temple was my first introduction to the cult that I really actually bought an album, listened to a whole album. I had heard the cult before. I'd obviously heard She's Alexandria. I heard, from their previous couple albums, I've heard music, but that was the first one I bought and I actually listened to the whole thing too, and was just really impressed. And then started going backwards, and then just stayed with them for at least the next few albums. And yeah, that was my intro to them.
My number 3 is also Love. The gothic Cure meets metal is one of those purest of oddities in rock history. This was truly the signature that is the capture. It's the takeaway. This has the reach of melody. It has a radio temper that fits a year or two of music and could be heard and appreciated by a wider class of listeners, whereas these ones that we've talked about from the 2000s are definitely in a different wheelhouse. Again, the mix might not be where it needs to be, but when you hear these songs live, you realize that they are forever, which leads me to Dreamtime. I would love this album because it was remastered. I think it's got all the right songs and the delivery. It has all the wrong production at the first time it goes out. It might be one of the worst of the best band debuts. But now that it's so deep, its recording process leaves things so decimated that it kind of ruins some of that. If you now listen to it remastered, this is like the Tragically Hip's first record. Wow.
Up to here.
Up to here. This is like Up to Here. This is where, or even if you went back to the EP, Small Town Bring Down and all that, I'm a Werewolf Baby. They're cool songs, but they're just not as recorded as well as it could be. So redoing this, because remember, this is from Britain too. So maybe in Britain, this is more what you're. Maybe you would have a different opinion if you were British. Correct, but remember, these are Death Cult songs.
Anybody Britain?
Okay, this is that really. Move, right?
You've heard Death Cult, you wouldn't say that, I don't think.
No, but they're on those tracks. You know what I mean? It's not all of them, but it's. But I love the revisions. I think that's a really great record now, and it's from '84, and the remaster's great.
Are you making money off these remasters?
No, I make no money off remasters. Number 1, The Cult. This was the album I came into, much like Jeff did with Love. I knew the singles for sure prior, the band See Self Sanctuary, all that stuff. But I had never really yearned for them. Again, 80s metal, The Cure, were not my wagon wheel. It was a prejudice that I came to, right? That I still am trying to get out of here. And I've come out of that a little bit for this band. And they have amazing producers technically most of the time. I just love the alt, post, punk, and Bob Rock finally got it right. This is a very well recorded technical album. I love the things that are held back. To me, this is the album within their collection that is the most unique. It's uniquely played. It's delivered completely and wickedly tuned, and made to be. It's made to be instead of made for this. It wasn't made for this time. It was because in '94,
good point.
It doesn't fit. But the problem is it really does. This is one, okay, that what is it? Electric, I think, is in the top 1,000 albums you should hear before you die.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's Love. I forgot. This is the album, okay? Because you should listen to this before you die, and is my favorite album in the catalog and the most definitive of the great albums, maybe one of the greatest albums of the 90s. So now that we've gone through that exercise, let's get to the idea, where is this in the catalog of everything for you? So we had starting low on the totem pole, Faded Memory. The band is merely a shadow of themselves. I think Jeff kind of alluded to that, that moment where it could have been. Opening act, there's Something Special, album songs. They have some more to prove, and potentially they're comfortable with where they are, perhaps. Then club level, they have some good songs, an album here, but not as reliable, nor are they as inventive. There's Relevant. The albums have been getting much better as they move forward, maybe even hitting a stride and truly on their way to potential greatness. Then there's Iconic. This is very memorable, very influential to the listener, industry, kind of trend setting, and generational. And then Legendary. The entire catalog is near perfection, reliable, inventive, sincere, and influential. Sue.
My first response would be Relevant with iconic standout tunes spread across. So I don't know.
Revelconic.
Yeah. I don't,
I get what you're saying.
I don't know. Because there are, like I was saying, there's some of the albums I'm just not as familiar with. It still sounds great, but I can't say that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to this. But I would definitely, there are about 5 albums that I would go to. So
Okay.
if that's acceptable.
Of course it is. And we'll go to Jeff after this. Now see
I
what he
think
says.
for cult fans and for anyone in Europe, they're legendary because they were a top 10 band for many years before they were
Yeah.
anywhere near that in the US. I think they were only top 10 once at that. But
Mhm.
anyone in the US who listens to music recognizes their significance. So historically, they're relevant for sure. They definitely mean something. They're definitely belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if that matters to anybody. But I mean, overall, worldwide, I mean, you'd have to almost. I think you have to call them legends because everyone knows their
Wow.
songs and they sell out anywhere they go, even to this day. And they don't certainly sound like they used to. They're been around 35, 40 years. But shoot, I'd go see him again.
Me too.
Seen him twice.
I think like if I had gotten into them earlier, I'd probably rank them even higher.
And they're not like a big flashy stage production band. They just get up and play for the most part, like
There you are, right? There's your remarkability in this, right? I that's where I am with them. I know that the people he's not the great front man. He seems uncomfortable in some cases. He's not flamboyant. He's not. It's the vocal. I watched Morrison perform. I don't think he was, ginormous on stage. He wasn't a Freddie Mercury. He wasn't a Robert Plant. He wasn't. But
people say the same thing about Maynard James Keenan.
Correct. Yeah. I think it's the vocal, it's the way it's delivered, and I get the impression immediately, always, and having seen him twice, that it doesn't matter the venue, it doesn't matter the amount of people. They're all in, and they come to play, and they give it everything they got. I believe they are a relevant band because of their continual album progression. They're inventive for themselves, but they're not inventing anything that hasn't been done already. They just find it. But I think they are legendary in sound, that they have just crafted such a. No one sounds like the Cult.
Yeah.
And no one tries to either. It's almost like it's something that can't be duplicated for some reason.
Because they're the Cult. Can't duplicate it.
That's where I hang my my final hat there. I will thank our panelists for doing this tonight, and join us next month for Mahavishnu Orchestra. It could be possible that I'll be doing it alone. I don't think so. Yeah, I do tell everyone on the panel that this is one of these super bands that needs to be explored in catalogs. So if you've never, it might be time to, because some of the greatest musicians that have ever graced the planet are in this band.
Okay.
We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, of course. We've got articles, videos, a podcast. Yeah, we'll see. Albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on, go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Thanks for watching.
Peace, dog.
Happy
Thanks, Doug.
listening. I knew that was coming.